Hello everyone, this is Kungund here to teach our craft today, which is weaving. We will be making these colorful, beautiful bookmarks out of yarn. You can so easily find out someone's favorite colors or the colors of their device, make them a bookmark and give it as a gift. And these are great for largesse as well. So the supplies that you will need are cardboard, scissors, glue, 2 colors of yarn, I'm using blue and white, and a measuring tool. I have measuring tape, you could use a ruler. So when you learn a new craft, there are always new vocabulary words associated with that craft. So today's words are warp, weft, shuttle, and shed. The warp threads, here's our loom right here. This is what we're gonna make today. So this is your loom, and your warp threads are the threads that run up and down on your loom. And the word warp rhymes with the word harp. Here's a harp right here. And that'll be part of our little song that we're gonna sing in just a second. So we also have your weft threads, the word weft. And I remember weft because the weft goes left. Weft threads are the ones that cross the warp threads, weave in and out of them to create your weaving. Next word is shuttle. And this right here, this little cardboard tool, is your shuttle. It holds the weft threads and guides them through the shed. You separate the top layer from the bottom layer of warp threads and you create this space right here. That is your shed. And then your shuttle passes through the shed. So the shuttle goes in the shed, passes through, and weaves the weft threads through the warp threads, creating your woven pattern. So the little song that can help you remember these new words are: the warp is like a harp, and the weft goes left, and the shuttle goes in the shed. The warp is like a harp, and the weft goes left, and the shuttle goes in the shed. Huzzah! All right, so we will craft your loom now. First step is to cut 2 9-inch by 2-inch pieces of cardboard, just from a scrap box, and glue them together. This is your loom. We're creating your loom, and 2 pieces creates a strong foundation that won't bend when we're weaving. Weaving creates tension. All right, so we will glue those 2 pieces together. Good. And then the next step is to cut the slits that will hold your warp threads in place. And we need 5 of them. So I'm going to start in the middle, and these cuts are about a 1/2 inch in length. There's 1, 2, 3. See how those are fairly evenly spaced? Put 2 on the other side as well. 1, 2. So 5 slits on one end, 5 on the other end as well. Start in the middle. There's 1. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. We have created our loom. The next tool we need to make is our shuttle. So cut a 2-inch by 1-inch piece of cardboard. Make sure it's a nice even rectangle. And then cut a triangle out of either of the short ends. Perfect. So now we have a shuttle. There's your tools, your loom and your shuttle. Now we are going to warp our loom by stringing on the warp threads. So take one of your colors of fabric and pinch it in here slide it in here between this first slit, and give yourself a little length off of the back so that you can tie a knot. Hold that in place and then guide your warp thread down through the matching slit on the bottom, up across the back, and into the second cut that you made. Down, and do that for all 5 of your warp threads. The warp is like a harp and it goes up and down. We have a little bit more thread here. Okay, and the last one. Good. So all 5, and then cut your thread. Good. tie these together, tie a knot. We'll cut this knot off later. Try to get it kind of in the middle of your work. Great, now your loom is ready to go. So the length of the weft threads that you'll need is 40 inches, and you'll need to cut 3 lengths of yarn, 40 inches long each. So here I have 3 pieces of yarn, each one is 40 inches. Hold them together and grab your shuttle, and we are going to wind these around our shuttle. So just hold it in place and then start wrapping it around the shuttle. The weft goes left, and the shuttle goes in the shed. Great. So now our shuttle is wound and we are ready to begin weaving. So when you weave, you alternate your warp threads. So the first thing we're going to do is pass underneath threads 1, 3, and 5. So we're going to lift those and pass our shuttle underneath those threads. They go on top of threads 2 and 4, and they pass underneath threads 1, 3, and 5. The first one can be a little tricky just to kind of get it in there. Great. Then on the way back, you do the opposite. So now we are going to go over 1, 3, and 5 and go under 2 and 4. Good. Pass back through. Oh, you can't see it. Lift threads 1, 3, and 5. Pass your shuttle through the shed. Nice. And you'll do that going back and forth until you reach the end, either the end of your weft thread because you have no more, or you'll get to this part of your shed and you cannot fit the shuttle through your shed anymore. In that case, you're done. So here you have finished all of your weaving back and forth, trying to keep a nice straight edge, a nice even edge on your way down. So your next step, or your finishing steps, is to cut this off. Just cut straight across the back, right at the spot where you tied your knot. Remove the top from your loom by pulling each of your warp threads out of their space. Okay, now take your weft threads, separate them all to the left and your warp threads all to the right, and tie these in a knot. Make sure you get all of those yarns through your knot hole. There we go. And then a nice double knot, just like that. Do the same thing on the bottom side. Pull your threads out, separate the warp and the weft. The weft is on the left, and tie that knot again. And there we go. Your last thing would be to straighten out those ends. You can leave them as long as you want. You could even tie some beads on to make some beaded tassels, or just trim them evenly so they're nice and clean. And you have a lovely bookmark in Cayenne colors, if you used blue and white, that is. I hope you enjoy this craft. Please post pictures of your bookmarks and let me see what you've created. Thank you for joining me.